Okay, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode number 170 with my guest, Arone Dyer. This is Aaron's fourth time on the podcast. Aaron's a good friend of mine. She's a member of Buke and Gase, amazing music duo based in upstate New York. Aaron she's an amazing composer. She rebuilds bicycles. She's a landscaper. And she's an amazing composer. She wrote a piece called Drone Choir, and we speak a bit about that today, but mainly just catch up. We've been sort of checking in during the pandemic, keeping an eye on each other, making sure we're doing okay. And it's always nice to catch up with Arone. If you don't know her work, you should check her out, especially her work called Drone Choir. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, hope you like this conversation. This is Arone Dyer. Talk to you soon. Bye. It is just fine. Okay. All right, Aaron, we're rolling, buddy.
Okay.
How you doing, my friend?
Okay. I'm good. I'm
Hanging
good.
In there.
Wow.
You are the one. You are who I first checked in with during the pandemic. You were my very first pandemic check-in therapy. We'll call it. You were my first therapy session for me, not for you. For me.
It's kind of both ways.
Maybe, I don't know. If I'm just going to say for me, for sure, I definitely used you as a therapist starting early on, whether you knew that or not, or whether you agreed to it or not. And then we checked in at least 2 other times, and now this is maybe our 4th time checking in. And yes. I don't have a. There's just so much shit that's happened in the last 4 to 6 months. So I'm kind of fine. I'm fine to start and talk about whatever you would like to, my friend.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, a lot has happened in the last month. Really?
In the last 4 days. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The Pentagon said there are UFOs. I mean, let's just pretend 2020 had nothing except for that. It would still be a remarkable 2020. So
UFOs? Well, duh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Oh crap! And I just put a thing in my mouth. Okay. Yeah. Start off like. I'm sorry for talking with my mouth full.
It's fine.
This is
least of our worries here in 2020.
It's my necessity right now at this time. Mm-hmm. Okay. So starting out a month ago, I got a message from a friend who has a studio in Brooklyn. And he was like, hey, Aaron, so just, because of COVID, like our studio's been really empty. Like all of our plans have fallen through because everybody's had to cancel because they can't travel or they can't afford it anymore. Would you be interested in a super discounted or slightly discounted like writing session? And I said, yes!
Just to come in and fuck around and not like with no goals other than just to tinker and write.
Well, it turns out I actually do have some goals.
Sweet.
Because at the same time, are you familiar with Stargaze? They're a chamber orchestra based in,
Sorry, this is a podcast. I shouldn't just nod or shake my head. No, I am not familiar.
Yeah, okay, so they are based out of Berlin, but they live like all over the place in Europe. A lot of different members, incredibly talented. And Andre de Ritter, the conductor.
Yeah, I know Andre. We've worked with him before.
Yeah, you have. And yeah, you know them anyways. So, wow. So he had contacted me about like, hey, let me do it in Andre's accent. Yeah, so we really enjoyed working with you in Berlin.
That's not half bad. I mean, that's sort of a basic German inflection, but Andre is, he's a sweet guy.
I
know what he's saying. That's good.
So sweet. So sweet. So he was like, we really enjoyed working with you and we want to see what else you've got. So let's make it happen. He's been on talking with Kickstarter people. And so we're going to work on a Kickstarter campaign to launch an album, which is basically me collaborating with Stargaze. Which is kind of like sending me for a total loop because I don't, well, anyways, let me keep going.
Why is it why is it sending you for a total loop?
Well, first of all, I'm not classically trained.
Yeah, but you need to stop saying shit like that because you're really good at stuff. So keep going.
Okay, but I am not classically trained. Classically meaning I wasn't traditionally trained in classical music or classical composition or even classical like instruments. So I'm like flying with the seat of my pants and really excited about it. It's so nice
Good.
to hear from someone saying like, no, actually we really believe in you
Yeah.
and we really want to see you push yourself to
That's
do
great.
this.
Yeah.
So I've been like gathering all this stuff that I've done in the past that I have like little snippets of and putting it on this folder, and we've been kind of passing things back and forth, and just at this point we're just like brainstorming and talking about things. Like I'm a huge fan of the PJ Harvey collaboration. I forget the I think it's just called the Man-Sized Sextet.
Okay.
On her Rid of Me album, and it's the man-sized sextet version of man-sized. It's
Okay.
so
I don't.
amazing.
I don't know it. I've never heard it, so I should check it
I
out.
highly suggest listening to it.
Okay.
PJ Harvey, man-sized sextet, off of Rid of Me, and it's so just like ballsy. Of course, PJ Harvey's really ballsy, so yeah. So that's one thing, and then oh god, I'm just so in love with Laura Mvula. Have
How do
you
you
heard
spell
of
that,
Laura?
Laura? I have not.
Laura,
Yep.
Mvula. M is in Mary.
Yep. Mavula.
Mvula, yeah.
Mvula. Mvula. Okay.
And I mean, her album "Sing to the Moon" is heartbreakingly beautiful. It's so it just oozes beauty.
Singing to the
This is
moon.
maybe not the right word to use.
Wait. So what word? What
It's
word did you use?
I used oozed, but I don't
Why
think
is
that
that
that's
bad?
the right term for what it makes me feel.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because
Well,
it's
it's the term that
also
you first used.
quite
It's the
sparkly.
term your brain decided to assign to it. So let's not completely throw it out.
It's the term my coffee decided for
Oh,
me.
okay.
Okay,
All right.
it's not
Blame it
that
on your
my
coffee.
brain. No, this is my brain on coffee, and the first coffee I've had in a week.
Well, let me. Sorry,
More on
I
that.
don't want to. I apologize if I derail you here, but again, this is constant honesty, and I think you know me well enough by now that I like to understand why people are afraid of things, including myself. So, what is it about being classically trained that you feel is giving you a disadvantage right now, or is at least a sort of mountain you feel like you have to climb? Why is that a thing?
Why do I feel that not being classically trained
Or
is
if you
hindering
were
me?
classically trained, why do you feel like that would be an advantage right now?
Because I would understand more how to use instruments. And I think, okay, so here's the thing. My friend, so basically, let me fast forward into this story so I can give you a better idea of how this is all coming together. I got into the studio. It turns out that Stargaze has commissioned me to do one piece for them. It's for a certain amount of money, and that's the amount of money that I put towards the studio. It's kind of like a good faith transfer. I'm putting it into the studio, so then the studio makes a little money, and I'm able to use the studio for this purpose. And I invited a friend of mine from Minneapolis. I've known him since high school. We've just always kept in touch. He's one of my favorite people. His name is Devon Russell Gray, and he is a composer, and he plays bassoon and piano, and is just generally like a very calming personality to be around.
That's good. That's good.
And like, yeah, and so he came, and we were going to, I don't know, I invited him to brainstorm, improvise, dick around, really, in a studio. And what ended up happening, and what was the most instructive for me and the most inspiring for me, is that he had prepared a playlist, which I should lead you to that. I'm not going to remember. Anyways, he had posted a playlist for something online, and in it he had his favorite pieces that really inspire him. And from that I was able to see, oh, right, classical music doesn't have to be this thing, which I, as a non-classically trained person, automatically put on the word. I think of Bach
Yeah.
or Mozart. I know it's not French, but I wanted
Who's
to
that?
put it
Bach,
that
who's the second one?
Bach was the first one, and
Yeah, I know.
Mozart was the second
Who's
one.
that? Who are you saying? I still haven't recognized
Mozart.
this. Mozart. Oh, God. Okay. I thought you were saying Mazel, like Lauren Mazel, the conductor.
I don't know who that is. Anyways, great. So, but those are the things that I was taught. I took piano lessons when I was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
kid, and I would get this little stupid bus.
But the thing you're not
like some
taught,
dude.
the thing that sucks though, is that you're also not taught about Bach that he had like 24 children or something, which,
I
which,
didn't know that.
which, I mean, just stop for 2 seconds and put yourself in the mindset of a guy. Like, just ask yourself what it takes to have 24 children. Forget you're a composer. That means something.
Listen, we don't need to. Okay,
We don't
okay,
need to beat around the bush, Aaron. But what I'm saying,
never mind that guy.
well, I'm not saying never mind, but what I'm saying is we might have a different view of him. We might see him a little more complicated, a little more nuanced as this guy who, like, he had 23 kids or something, had to create a new mass every Sunday. He had a gig, and he had a gun held to his head being like, sorry, we got a new mass every Sunday. And then he went in and figured out, like, came up with figured bass, which is basically like a lead sheet. Sort of like, I don't know, I'm just going to blow over these changes, like he was figuring stuff out just like we were. And now music historians and universities have canonized him as this figure, except he was a person like you or me who had a different family life than I have. I don't have 20. I have, I have 2 dogs, and I'm flying by the seat of my pants, let alone having 23 kids, like. So anyway, just to say that, like, okay. I think you have way more in common with Bach than I think you think you do.
Okay,
just to say
well,
that
that's fair, and it's all about context. It's very fair.
Yeah.
At the same time, my context coming from being like an 80s/90s baby, is that classical music is very outdated. And I didn't understand classical music to be like, even, what's the word? Just I didn't even find it to be inspiring and understandably as like a, like rock music in a way.
It didn't feel like relevant. It didn't feel relevant to the stuff I was listening. Like, I didn't know how to piece together. Like, I was listening to Metallica or Pantera growing up.
Right. And well, okay. What I'm trying to say is that kind of classical music was like Pantera at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was loud. It was abrasive. It was
in its time.
Yeah, in his time.
Yes,
I didn't understand that until my adulthood, right? Because
me neither. Just to be clear, I'm saying all this stuff, but I didn't learn until I got to Yale. Even at grad school, I didn't even know that stuff.
Right. Okay. Well, so, but then there's all this other kind of music, like Ryuichi. You're gonna know who it is, Ryuichi. Oh gosh. Anyways,
you'll notice I'm keeping my mouth shut because I don't know.
Johan Johansson.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Okay. Just like, woo! That Arrival soundtrack? Look, that is so amazing. That's the kind of stuff I want to write. Okay. That's definitely what I want to write.
Yeah.
That and, wait, I'm going through my list. I got a list. It's, not on here. It is Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Okay. What did they write? What did they write for?
Well, actually, they did the soundtrack for Revenant.
Okay. That's okay. It's all coming together. Sorry. I had no idea who you're talking about.
Halfway through, and then Bryce Dessner and this other dude who I should know the name of. Anyways, Alva Noto. So these were people who are just new to me, basically.
Yeah.
And that was really inspiring to think of, so classical music, it can be like that. And it can be soft and slow and dark and like painful. Yeah. And so basically what I'm trying to say is that after going through that process with Devon, it really expanded my mind to see that I just need to make the music I want to hear, as opposed to try to make this, because what I was going into it is be like, okay, well, what can this orchestra do? And I should make it do that thing that it can do.
Right.
And go like just reaching into what my most immediate.
It's like nobody ever gets inside of a Corvette. Nobody ever gets inside of a Corvette and is like, let's just let this sucker go 2 miles an hour, and let's just feel how comfortable this is. Like, everybody gets in it and just slams the gas and just like, look at this, you know. And just like, if you got to write for the Cleveland Orchestra, that doesn't mean that you should write the hardest stuff. Like, they may actually be able to play the most slow moving chorale or something that you come up with way better than some orchestra who can't play fast rhythms or whatever, you know, like, so just, you know, your instincts oftentimes in that moment of like, oh, people do this with So all the time. They come to Soci and they're like, we're going to write for So percussion, and they dump the kitchen sink on us. And it's like, what? Like, no, I understand what you're doing, but don't you realize you would get 400 times more out of us if you limited what it is that you want to do and run yourself through that extruder a little bit, and on the other end, both of us are going to be way better versions of ourselves.
Right. So it's about setting limits.
Right.
It's about setting limits on so many levels. And this whole scenario, you know, coronavirus, where it's forcing limits on us. It's forcing us to limit who we contact.
Some of us, not all of us, but some of us, it feels like. Most of us. Yeah.
It's forcing us to limit who we contact and how often, where we go and how often, how we get there. So many things, like how we spend our pastime, how we interact with the people that we love, who we have to be with on a 24/7 basis. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, I've been having these moments, I don't know about you, but like, you know, So has a gig in August that it's not in front of a live audience, but it's like we're filming stuff, but it's in the venue where we were going to play before, and we're all of a sudden starting to have to, like, we're entering into this new world of signing your life away. Like, I had to sign a waiver to be able to get in the venue, and
right, because if you get sick,
well, I can't sue them, and it's just, can't sue them. It's like a new thing in the world right now, and I had this weird moment of like, I'm being very selfish right now. I actually don't want to get in the room. My health is more important to me than getting in the room and playing John Cage with Jason, Adam, and Eric. Not that, I mean, I don't.
Have you seen him?
Not in person since this whole thing happened. But to me, it's like there's a point at which, like, my ethics around what I feel good music is supposed to be in the world meet my reality of like, I do not want to die, so I do not care.
Right.
Like, Steve Reich's music, not important. I just do not care. And
don't
like
care.
having to sort of, I'm just saying this out loud, is like, I'm not saying that's necessarily a rational thing that I feel like I want to believe in long term. But right now, it's the like, oh my God, these are all the feelings I'm having. And to me, it's just I'm trying to clock it in the same way that doing the CoronaCast podcast, we're just like, I just want to get my Ring of a Tree on record and just to sort of be able to look back and see how I was thinking about this stuff. But it's really confusing. That's all I can say is like, I'm really confused by the way I feel about this stuff sometimes. So I'm curious. It's exciting to me to hear you talk about this stuff because it helps me think about this stuff a little clearer.
Yeah, I made a post recently on Instagram. And it was with Instagram, and it was with the goal of thanking Alec Bemis, who is the manager of the label that Buke and Gase are on, and he has been working his ass off throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
Keeping that label afloat, keeping the artists on that label afloat and relevant and interesting. And I just wanted to thank him. And the last thing that I wrote on this post was like, I want to thank them, thank Brassland, the label, for continuing to do this, even when I don't know how to continue.
Yeah.
It sounded like he took that, or what happened is that he reposted that and was like, "Oh my gosh, sounds like Aaron needs a little bit of encouragement. Let's
let's isn't completely untrue, but
it's not completely untrue. That's right. It sounded like a little bit more of a plea than I meant.
It sounded like you were like, I'm going to quit unless somebody gives me a heart on this post.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't about that. What I really want to do is just like thank Brassland and put this out. Like, thank you for just putting the effort in, because I don't know how to put the effort in. I don't want to do live streaming. I don't want to do socially distanced performances. I've been invited to do a socially distanced outdoor performance in Hudson, and I'm considering it. Maybe. I've heard that it's been going well. There's only been 2 performances so far. There's like a limit of 50 people. It's all outdoors. There's 2 nights, so you do Friday and Saturday so that you can get more people.
Yeah.
Of course, the pay is kind of
right.
But
but let me ask you this: what music are they asking you to do social
They didn't
distance.
ask me to do anything in particular, but I thought about doing one night of, I would like to figure out a way to post drone choir parts online and get the entire audience involved for one night. Just do quickie. And then the following night I would do Mistresses, Buchan Gace with Aaron, and then DN Rez, which is Aaron's project. Aaron Sanchez.
Yeah.
Which is so good.
What's his project? I haven't heard of it.
DN Rez with an S at the end of RES. DN is Nancy Rez. It's so good. Find him on SoundCloud. I think he's got stuff on Spotify or Tidal or whatever. Just or maybe just one song. Go to SoundCloud because that's where most of his stuff is. It's so good. He's such an amazing producer. Fuck. Anyways.
I've been on a record he's produced. I know.
Yeah.
He's very good.
He's so good. Anyways, so that might be a thing. I want to try to get together with him.
I was going to ask if your drone choir was something. I mean, this is Soci just happened, and we did there's a piece by Martin Schmidt that is called Just Waves. Do you know Martin? You know Martin from Matmos.
I don't know. Maybe.
He's one half of Matmos. It's Martin and Drew Daniel. Do you know Matmos?
Let's move on.
Fantastic.
I know the name.
They're an amazing. They're an electronic duo from Baltimore, or they live in Baltimore now. They were from San Francisco for a while.
Okay.
Anyway, they're great. But Martin has a piece that is there's some tracks that people sing along to, and we did it remotely, not live, where people just sent in their videos, and it worked out really well. And I thought to myself, like, your drone choir stuff is probably. I mean, I know that singers are super spreaders, so I don't know like what the deal is with that, but it does feel like that is
true.
But I think there's, as far as churches are concerned, I think in closed spaces it's only tricky. But I think outdoors, I am curious about this. Like, if people are spread out enough, like it could be really awesome.
Masks are required.
Yeah, I mean, great, but like have the drone choir spread out over a football field and have 50 people doing it. Like that could probably sound pretty goddamn rad.
A football field? No.
Whatever, just like enough, but have enough people where it can sound pretty cool. I mean, I think you could do it socially distanced, where you just told all the performers like, don't get close to people, just be around them. Obviously, we don't want anybody dying because of drone choir. But
oh my god. Well, and also I've been really rethinking about drone choir. I'm not.
Is that right?
I need to. I need to remove myself from it. Basically.
Why is that?
Well, over humility perhaps, or the feeling that my voice is not necessarily the one that I want to be represented or representative of it. And I would prefer to collaborate with other female composers, other female musicians who might be interested in trying to do something like that
through the medium of like headphones,
through the medium of the way that I've been making it work. Yeah. And so I would be a facilitator, a collaborator, but not the composer. I would probably become a co-composer, in order to, like an arranger.
Yeah. Or a producer, just somebody who helps to sort of organize everything and keep. I mean, like be a dramaturg. Like you're keeping everybody on whatever track they said they wanted to be on. Like that's the difference between a dramaturg and a director. Like if somebody comes to you and says, I want to do this with a piece, and your job is only to be like, hey, you said you wanted to do this with this piece, and now you're doing something completely different. Are you aware of that? Like that's a super important role to play, and also keeps your personal aesthetic ego out of it. You're just pointing out where someone else's ego has gone off track in terms of their mission. So I think that's an interesting. It's interesting to me that you are having those feelings about a piece or a concept that you innovated, because what made you feel like, was there something that happened, or was there a perception of things, or were you feeling like it was getting out of your control? What was the reasons?
It's not at all that I feel like I think it's getting too much under my control. I mean, it always has been too much under my control, and I've made huge mistakes throughout the processes, and I'm a white woman. I want to remove myself.
Well, let me challenge just
Like,
as
I
me
already
from.
feel like I'm obsolete to a huge extent, and I want to make myself even more obsolete in a way.
Yeah, but let me ask you something real quick, and please know that this is a friend asking a friend, and not like I know you well enough. I
Yeah,
think you know me well enough to know that what I'm asking is,
of course.
I hope, from a good place. But I it worries me a little bit when you discount your entire, like, your intelligence and your compositional prowess, your musical prowess, your ability as a person to make people excited about what you're doing, about what they're doing, about your own personal vision in life, about your energy, all of that stuff. When you distill it down to I'm a white woman,
Yeah,
I understand. I get it. I totally do, Aaron.
yeah.
But I want you also to know that I don't know. I want you to think long and hard before you remove yourself from a situation based solely on something you have no control over. When in fact, the reason this thing exists and all of these people are gravitated towards you is for every other reason.
Right.
And why people show up for these things isn't because they know that there's a white woman who's not going to have the predominant voice. The reason they, at least as far as I'm concerned, when I'm in the room with you, it's not because I feel like you're going to dominate anyone else's voice in the room. It's because you're an interesting fucking person.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm only saying,
Great.
like,
Okay.
it is your piece, and you are you are the person who innovates. So please know that I'm saying you do whatever you got to do. But I also want you to just know that from the outside, trust your instincts and the power that you wield. From the outside, you're using it for good. So just think a little bit before you remove yourself completely, because I think you do have awesome shit and you can help nudge people in great directions. So that's my only 2 cents. So take that
I
for
feel
take
like
that for what it's worth.
every time we talk, you end up giving me this kind of
I'm sorry, Aaron. I
kind
mean,
of like slight lecture. It's
well,
fine.
then stop. No,
But
I'm
it's,
not.
it's
Don't take it as
representative. No,
don't take it
no,
as
it
a
totally
lecture.
shows me. I mean, I see
But
it. I see that I definitely try to dismiss myself. I do it. I
you
am
can open.
terrified of being dismissed by others, and
Oh
so I
man,
will preconceive it. And I will sabotage myself by dismissing myself.
welcome to the club, Aaron. We all do
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, you have power. Like, if diversity and those things are those sorts of issues for you in this world are super important, the power you have, the place where you have the most power is to hold the door open.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remove yourself out of it as in an attempt, I just worry that the door might come a little more closed. And so just prop your ass in front of that door and just be like, come on in. Like, just keep doing that. And then once everybody's in the room, then you can be like,
I'm
hey,
gonna write that down.
I built this room. I don't know what's going on in here, and we're going to figure it out together. Then I feel like, generally, I don't know. I just don't want you're in the room because it's important. And anytime when you're not in the room, that bums me out. And so just before you remove yourself, ask yourself, would Josh be bummed at me right now? And then ignore that feeling, because it doesn't really matter what I think.
What
But
would Josh do? What would Josh say?
no. Just, Aaron, I like you in the room, and when you say you want to remove yourself from the room for something as simple as something you have zero control over, that scares me a little bit. Long run. So
Okay.
hold the door open.
Okay, I'm holding the door open.
You watch Game of Thrones?
I mean, I did.
Do you know
Yeah,
the scene Hodor at the end where he's
Hodor.
yeah,
Hodor!
like that's you. You are the autistic. You're the artistic Hodor. So hold the door open, Aaron. That's what I'm saying.
Hodor.
That's great.
I'm
Also,
gonna get a tattoo of that. I'm gonna put that right
So-
up there.
Let me ask you. So sorry, I got a sidetrack from your studio. So now have you gone into the studio, or is that where
Yeah,
you're at right now?
I spent 2 weeks in the studio.
Uh-huh.
5 days with Devon, 3 days with Ryan Oslance, the drummer of Mistresses. He and I improvised a bunch of days by myself. One day with Andrea Ambro, who is the drummer of Talk Normal and Gold Dime.
You're just saying
Aaron
words that
Sanchez came.
I'm an old man now, Aaron. I don't understand any of these
That's
references.
fine. I'm just naming them just in case. I mean, if anybody's listening to this, check them all out because they're all interesting and and then and I spent a lot of time by myself on the freaking unicorda and singing to myself and just trying to. I mean, man, it's so disheartening getting into a room and realizing that I don't know how to play piano.
Well, how long? I mean, this is something I think when people think about their favorite albums. I mean, I don't know. Like, look at your most. You look at if the National is one of your favorite bands, you can look at Sleep All Beast or whatever, and you can be like, oh, cool. They they went into a studio they physically built and wrote all of the songs and did all the stuff there. And then, or you look at Billy Joel, you're like oftentimes you can lock out a studio for 6 months and just go in there and write. I remember Matt was talking about Bjork when they worked with Bjork. Bjork locked out a studio for like 3 months and just paid Martin and Drew to stay in a hotel and said, "Come down here at 2 a.m. I need you to lay down this synth track or whatever," and they would go do it. For you and me, that's less of a reality. It's more like you get your shit together, and then when you get in the studio and it's $1,000 a day, your ass is grinding because you got to get shit in and out in a day.
It's a lot of pressure. It's
you
a
only have
$1,000.
What was the experience writing? First of all, did you have any guilt at any moment when you were just in the studio where you felt like, I am wasting time in this beautiful place? And then how did you deal with it? And then B, how was the writing process? What did you end up getting out of it that you maybe wouldn't have ever even come close to getting if you were just in your bubble wrapped basement like you're at now?
Okay, well, the first question, which was, was I wasting time, or did I feel like I was wasting time?
Were you wasting time? Did you feel like you were wasting time? Those are two different things.
What ended up happening, first of all, is a Pro Tools based studio. I don't use Pro Tools at home.
What do you use?
At least 2 whole days I spent watching tutorial videos on how to use Pro Tools.
Yeah.
By the end of 2 weeks, I know how to use Pro Tools sufficiently enough. I'm fine.
Are you a Logic or Ableton person predominantly?
Reaper and Ableton.
Oh, okay. I'm Logic, so.
Are you?
It's like we're the Jets and the Sharks. If we cross in the streets, it'd be like boo-doop, boo-doo-doop, boo-doo-doo. Chivy with a tiny little poker.
So I mean, did I feel like I was wasting my time watching these tutorials? To an extent, but at the same time, I'm like, well, okay. I mean, this is transferable information, and I can use this to my advantage if I ever get into another studio. Another 2 whole days I spent watching and obsessing with piano lessons and music theory lessons.
Oh, wow, okay.
And advice for producers, just videos. I was just like, just totally sucking in as much information as I could. And I felt like I was justified in doing that because I would not be doing that at home.
Yeah. You have no reason to.
I will also, when I'm home, I tend to default to what other people want me to do. So I make myself as available as possible to do a lot of landscaping work because that's how I make money these days. And even though I can't get more than 3 days work, but, or whatever else needs to be done in the house or somebody else's job. Like I worked for Aaron a few days or a bunch of days actually. Anyways, so I don't like sit myself down and practice piano. I don't have a piano. So to answer the second question.
Did you grow up playing piano?
I mean, yeah, I took lessons. We had a piano in the house, and it was kind of like, well, I guess we should give the kids lessons.
Okay. I think I knew that about you. Or maybe I didn't.
Well, my sister started taking piano. I was like, I want to do what she does. And I took piano lessons. And anyways, I had to take piano lessons in order to get into the percussion section in band, which is what I really wanted to do. I wanted to play drums.
Well, you had to take piano lessons to get in the percussion section?
Yeah, to get basic music theory.
But to get in the percussion section?
Yes.
Because in my high school, in order to get in the percussion section, they did what's called Take Your Pulse.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm sort of joking, but like...
Yeah, I know.
I didn't have to play piano. They were just like, can you breathe in and out on your own? And I was like, sure.
No. I grew up in Minnesota. At that time, the music... the music portion of schools was quite well funded and cared about. I don't think that it's cared about anymore.
I'm being kind of facetious.
Everybody had to be in either choir, band, or orchestra, or 2 of all 3. Or you could be in all 3, but then you'd be one of those freaking overachievers and nobody would be your friend.
Nobody likes those people.
So I was in band and choir.
All right.
And then, of course, you could do the alternate stuff like be in marching band. Or be in jazz band, which, no.
Were you in the marching band ever?
Yeah.
What'd you play? Go ahead, can I guess? You played snare. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I picture you as like a flugelhorn player.
What the hell?
It's like a...
Flugelhorn? I told you, I just got into percussion. I can't do the...
Chuck Mangione, baby. That's the... I know what you said. I'm just telling you what I picture in my... What?
What's it called? the
embouchure.
callus. Oh yeah, I don't have that thing.
You have a callus on your embouchure.
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 Okay, so you didn't do marching band.
I did do marching band. Yeah.
Sorry, you did do marching band, but you didn't do all of them. But you had so.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about. I got lost. I got confused. Sorry.
That's cool. Because I don't know how to play. Oh no, because I had to learn how to play piano.
Right.
That's what I did when I was a kid. The question was I wasting my time? And then the other question was, what was my writing process?
Yeah, what was different once you got in the studio versus when you're at home?
Access. Mm-hmm. Access to instruments. Access to be able to record it. Like, psh, I mean, I was in that space by myself, pushing, recording, editing some things, just like going back and forth from the control room to the ISO.
Oh, so you didn't have an engineer. There was just you. Okay.
Just me.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I had an awesome engineer who helped me set up the whole space, Lily Wen. She's super cool. She came in actually 3 times. One to set up the whole space to begin with. Mm-hmm. Lots of mics. She had everything ready. And then another time to reset up for drums and then to take down. So it was great.
That's awesome.
And so the process was basically me getting in the space and being like, what should I do first? I don't know. Yeah. And then I sit down at a piano and I'm like, plink, plink, plink. Oh, right. I don't remember how to play piano. Let's watch a tutorial on how to do scales. So I started doing scales and I practiced scales every day.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I mean,
which I don't do when I'm at home. I don't have a piano. I don't practice scales. I don't even practice on my guitar. I have the guitars. What kind of a dumbass am I to have guitars and not practice guitar?
Well, but I want to just highlight. I think have you read the book? Have you ever read the book Outliers?
Oh, by Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah. Do you know the book? Or know of it?
I'm not sure if I read it. I feel like I have.
It's basically sort of like, it just talks about people like Bill Gates or people who Bill Gates as a kid, his mom worked at the University of Michigan, I think it was, and just so happened to have a key to the mainframe computer on campus, the only one in the entire state, let alone probably the whole country, next to Bell Labs, And his mom was like, yeah, sure. And so he would just get in there after hours and tinker around. And so you ask these questions of like, yeah, is Bill Gates, is he a genius? I don't know, maybe, whatever. But he also just randomly had access to if they lived in Ada, Oklahoma, would we know about Bill Gates? I don't know. But the point is Bill Gates said, yes, Mom, give me the key. And then Bill Gates went and put the key in the door and fucked around. And What I'm saying is for you, what I want people to see here isn't that like you went in and made this like record that, made Stevie Wonder look like he was an amateur because you watched YouTube videos. What you did is you took the key and opened the studio door. And like that's 90% of innovation. That's 90% of learning. That's 90% of life is just showing up and being the person who's willing to put the key in the door and turn it,
And also being prepared to fail.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. That goes without saying that if you're the first person putting the key in the door, 9 times out of 10, when you open the door, there's going to be a raging fire on the other end and you've got to slam the door shut and go the other way. Like that's, and for you, the raging fire wasn't necessarily harmful. It was like, oh, I don't know how to play piano. So let me look at or I don't know Pro Tools. Let me put that fire out. Oh my God, I don't know what a compressor does. Let me put that fire out. Oh my God, a compressor really is like a nuclear weapon in these mixing room. Holy smokes, I've made you've just had those at bats more than other people, and I think that's the tangential thing I want to connect here is that you took advantage of an opportunity during a time of extreme limitation.
Yes, totally, and it was huge, and I'm so grateful for it.
And
thank you, Figure 8. Thank you, Shahzad Ismaili.
Indeed. So now moving forward, we're not. The current situation isn't over. We're not like on the other end and like, oh boy, glad that's done. But so for you, knowing that, how has your process maybe not changed? I don't want to assume that you've thrown out the old any of your old ways of collaborating, but how are you approaching new collaborations now that you're out of the studio moving forward? What is your mindset? How is it slightly differently moving forward? Or is it? I don't want to assume that either.
To be honest, since I got back from the studio, I haven't done anything musically. And this is about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Or is that right? No, a week. I got back on the 21st.
Okay.
Excuse me. And I've just set up everything right now. Yesterday. So I'm getting into it today. Also, I had like a fever scare on Saturday and told everybody that, hey, I might have COVID. Who knows? Went into the doctor, got a bunch of tests. Could be tick related, could be anything. Even though, like, how would you catch a freaking cold? I'm wearing a mask.
I know this is the shit that's going on right now. Like every time, like if I get a sniffle, everybody's got to remember, you could have COVID, but you could also just have a cold or flu or fever or allergies or whatever else is. I mean, that stuff hasn't gone away either. So the level of panic shoots through the roof the minute you like blow your nose.
Oh man, I got so scared. So I'm not working this week because my coworkers I care about my coworkers.
Yeah.
And they also told me that I shouldn't come into work until I get test results. That's cool. That's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
So it's like another gift. Another gift of like, I have to force myself. I have to do music now. So, now my process is like, okay, getting into Ableton. What am I going to do in Ableton? How am I going to approach it differently? How am I going to approach... I'm basically searching for different ways to do things at this point to inspire myself. Because working with other people and collaborating with other musicians, you don't know what they're going to do. And that's the best part. And it's just a reaction. It's just like, what's your reaction to that? Oh, yeah, what do you think about that? It's like a conversation. You know, that's what's so fun about collaborating with somebody.
Yeah.
And so when you're alone, it's like, well... I already know what I'm going to do, so that's not fun. So it's a matter of like, okay, well, how can I do something that's unpredictable to myself? Learning a new way to use Ableton. Learning, what I'm probably going to end up doing is just making a bunch of sounds into a microphone. It's kind of how I started drone choir. It's just like do a bunch of notes, say a bunch of things, and then bring it into Ableton and manipulate them and see what happens.
You know what I do when I don't work in Ableton that much, but when in Logic, I'll go in and I'll just like sing just a simple sine tone or whatever, and then I'll just for like 20 seconds, like nothing even like, I don't even try to do anything good, and then I just will put... I'll put an auto-tuner on it, and then I'll put...
You can sing something for 20 seconds?
I'll take a breath. I have a big gut, Aaron. I have a big old belly that holds a lot. My diaphragm goes really low.
Oh, okay.
But then I'll put like 20 auto-tuners on it. Like, just do the thing that nobody does, which is like piece together an absurd amount of auto-tuners and just like 45 reverb settings that...
Yeah.
And let's just see what comes of it. And 9 times out of 10 is complete crap. But every once in a while, you're like, whoa, that like weird artifact that shot out the other end of that 25 auto-tuned chain link of pedals. I never would have done that on my own unless I was really frustrated right now. So you just never know. And that's the thing about like Logic and Ableton is you can go in and you can build things that you couldn't afford to build. I can't afford to buy 25 auto-tuners. But I can afford to put 25 auto-tuners in Logic. Even though they're not great, I can still line them all up and be like, well, how crazy is this going to sound?
Yeah.
As a way to sort of jog me out of my bullshit.
Yeah. It's just play. It's playing and enjoying, like, the process of learning how to play. I'm bringing out... Oh, I have a thing here. It says... In the middle of a busy life, take some time to be a kid again.
Well, that's when they talk about kids learning foreign languages or they learn different skill sets way quicker than adults, it's because kids, I mean, there's many reasons, but one of the reasons is kids play more. And if adults can get into a sandbox with 0 goals, your goal is just to be in the sandbox and come up with something, like, and have 0 attachment to it, I think we would find... way more. I mean, it's just as soon as you get in, you start to attach meaning to things, and you start to attach failure or success to things, and you start to sort of guess. Oh well, if I stayed on this track, it's going to fail. And it's like, well, just don't care.
Yeah.
Just let the train run off the cliff. No one's going to get there. It's fine,
Yeah. I mean, one thing that that I have instituted since the beginning of the studio is like, okay, I'm going to learn something every day. So I've started Babbel. I'm learning Spanish.
Oh, sweet.
And I'm doing that every day. Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú?
Bien, malo.
Más o menos.
What?
Más o menos.
Okay. ¿Por qué?
More or less.
Oh, more or less. Sorry, my mom. Now you're at the limit of my Spanish. Muy gordo is how I know how to talk about
Oh
myself.
boy.
Anyway.
Well, anyways, but that's a
Muy,
process.
muy buena. That's what I wanted to say. Muy buena.
But like that's something. It's like if I keep on, if I what I am hoping.
Sorry, muy
is
bonita.
that by
Muy bonita. That's what I meant to say, not muy buena.
linda.
Bonita. Means
Okay.
very beautiful. That's what I meant to say, Aaron. Yes. Tú es muy
You
bonita.
tú es muy bonito.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. We were gonna get there eventually.
Anyways, so basically, I'm hoping that if I am just conscientiously learning something every day, that is gonna spill into everything, and I'm gonna have more fun learning things, and I'm gonna just be more inspired to learn things in all the different aspects of my life, and that's actually working out geniusly.
Well, I think, Aaron, that I mean, I'm not worried about wrapping this up now because you and I are going to connect a million times, and I know that you have other things you've got to get to today. But I feel like that's a really good spot to sort of put a pin in this conversation and just say, like, people need to look back. People just need to think a little bit about. Sorry, I'm not summarizing this very well. I want people to look at what you just said over the last 45 minutes as like, having looked at the other 3 conversations you and I have had.
Oh my God.
And I'm saying this not in a like, look at how Erin was scared in the beginning and look at how confident she is now. Like, no, look at the way Erin and I both were talking about this crazy shit that went down 5 months ago.
Yeah.
To now. And I think just take from Erin exactly what I hoped would happen, which is what I know smart human beings do, which is eventually we figure the fuck out because there's no other choice, Aaron. Like there's we have to do, you and I especially, it's like, I don't have plan B. Like I can't.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
my plan B is so sad.
I mean, landscaping, maybe you and I team up. I love mowing lawns. So maybe you and I can start a business together.
The thing is, yeah, but see, I injured myself. That's another thing. Like week I came back, I mean, I've injured myself landscaping so many times where I can't.
How'd you hurt yourself?
I have like a tendonitis, I guess, in my shoulder that just flares up real bad.
Well, maybe in our landscaping company, you can just be the person who points to where the problems are.
I'm probably gonna get a freaking.
No. I don't want to exacerbate any tendonitis. No. Yeah, okay, but don't do that. Let's just do this. You just go like this. Watch. You just go like if there's a problem over there, you just go like this.
I'll get a crick in my neck. That's cool. No, I'm kidding. I work really hard.
I know. I'm just joking.
Hard work, man. Digging holes like nonstop, weeding, all this stuff in the hot sun, like overheated. It's been so hot. Anyways. Point being, as a plan B, I'm of an age. I'm 40. And my sister's like, why don't you consider getting a job that where you're not going to hurt yourself? And also, maybe you'd be able to retire from it or something.
We're going to start we're starting a business called Aaron and Josh are going to fix your yard. We'll put it on the side of a truck. It'll be great. We'll have magnets for everybody.
Aaron and Josh, fix your yard.
Aaron and Josh will fix your yard. Everybody gets masks. It'll be great. We're going to be
If it ain't asphalt, it's your fault.
If it ain't asphalt, it ain't our fault. Well, Aaron, I am really grateful to check in with you, and check up with you on during these times. And let's continue this tradition, even if things get back to normal. Whatever that means, whatever. Let's just keep checking in. I'm really, really. It warms my heart to see you have your face lit up. And how's your mom doing? Is she okay?
You. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Mom, well, she had another scare. She went in, got some tests like a PET scan or an MRI, I forget which one, and they found another thing in her breast, and she was so stressed, and it's so scary, but then she got a biopsy, and it's fine.
Good.
And so she can focus on these other things that are going on with her. We're all houses. If you don't take care of your house, I mean, she took great care of her house.
Even if you take care of your house, a hurricane can come and blow it down.
Right. Or you open up a wall and all of a sudden you see a leak that you didn't even realize could be there. Yep. So, just got to cherish our bodies, cherish our lives and our loved ones and keep it going.
Well, Aaron, I'm glad. What's that?
Cherish you.
Cherish you too, Arone Dyer. I appreciate you having him. I appreciate you in my life. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. I told my wife today. She's like, "Who are you doing a podcast with?" I said, "Arone Dyer." She's like, "Oh, Arone Dyer, how's she doing?" I said, "I'm
Tell her
about to
hi.
find." Yeah, she said, "Tell her hi." I was like, "I'm about to find out. I don't know. You never know." But I always look forward to us chatting, Arone, and
Likewise.
I genuinely do hope we can do it again in person sooner than later. But I'm of the mindset right now that I do not want to rush anything. I think human beings rush way too much. Historically,
Yeah, I agree.
For the last thousands of years, we've rushed a lot, and it's not done us well. So, despite my feelings of wanting to get back in the room and have these discussions and hug you and pick you up and do all the things that we do when we're in person, let's not rush it and let's just check in. I appreciate it. It helps me out.
Yeah, it would probably break my back if I tried to pick you up too.
Yeah, let's not do that. All right, Arone Dyer, I love you with all my heart. Take care of yourself.
Bye, Josh Quillen.
And we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right, see you, buddy. All right, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. This podcast was brought to you by Liquid Drum. LiquidDrum.com down in Waco, Texas. Todd Meehan runs an amazing percussion advocacy, education, and humorous website called LiquidDrum.com. Check him out. You won't regret it. Also, Dunleavy Pans. Kyle Dunleavy builds and tunes all the steel drums that I play on and teach on. You can check out his work at dunleavypans.com, DUNLEAVY pans.com. He's an amazing tuner. Really nice guy. Check him out. Also, if you are interested you've never always wondered what the steel band is, what it does, why it's important, where it's from, you can check out paninmotion.com. They're an organization run by a bunch of my good friends from the pan scene in Brooklyn. Trisha, Arisha, Kendall, Jerry, among others, down in Brooklyn, New York. You can check them out at paninmotion.com. And finally, if you just want interesting apparel centered around steel drum stuff and other advocacy as well, you can check out Alejandre's page at Mango Chow on Facebook. Mango, like the fruit, and Chow, CHOW. I have a bunch of his shirts, and they're beautiful, so check them out. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you're all doing well. I really mean that. Take care, stay safe, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.